Hello everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to use the run mapping template. This is the template posted in July 2022, and it has some new features that the old mapping template didn't have. One of them is fmod, and we also have some other cool stuff. So let's get right into it. So the first thing you're gonna see is that on the bottom we have some colored folders. They are colored for you to be able to remember basically what they are, because it's easier to remember a color than to remember the name. The main content, new content that we're gonna have, is located in Blueprint Spawners, and Blueprint Spawners' job is basically to spawn the blueprints. But these blueprints aren't the full blueprints like Void has, because obviously we don't have access to Void's dev project. So we make like empty actors, and then we get the blueprint spawner to spawn them, and then we delete them after cooking. The blueprint spawner remembers which blueprint it tries to spawn, and then if the blueprint that it's selected is the same as the one that is located in the game folders, it will spawn the one that is in the game. So that's really smart. Let's go into here. You're greeted with some options here, but the main component that you're going to use mostly all the time, just go over here, is going to be the BP door reap. And I know the BP door is still here, but I've had some issues with trying to get it to work. We could actually try to put one of these next to each other. So you're going to use like gas metal 1, which is one that has this almost transparent thing. Now put the door reap here. As you can see, it already comes with some things inside of here. And make this also the hotel steel. Oh no, sorry, gas metal 1. There you go. So you can see that some differences are here, but it's still the same thing. The red arrow means the side that the trap is going to be on. This is basically going to be the front of the door. So in the old BP door, you could just set a door data table and a trap data table, and that was basically it. And also a lock chance, even though I don't know if that works or not. Then, in the new BP Door Reap, which is made by Reap, a very talented modder in our community, he has made it so that you could replace the mesh. If you don't type in anything into here, it's just gonna spawn the gas metal 01. But if I wanted to use like a custom door, let's see if I find my own door here. Probably here, I guess. There you go. I can take this door and plug it into her, and as you can see now, it appears to have this door mesh. So if I just type in Alloperf, I think it is. There you go. Like that, and there's a door. There you go. Right. Now, as you can see, I have this little little door here with some glass and what's not, and it's very basic. Although this one is mirrored, so it's gonna look a little bit bad. So let us just turn this one around like this. Cool, like that. And we're not gonna spawn any traps, because we don't want to need to fight of that. In the instance here, we can actually take two of these next to each other actually, and then you just remove the override here. And this is basically to override the default door. This is not going to be replacing the door all the way. It's just to replace the mesh of the door. So you still need to have somewhat a traditional door. If you want to make like a sliding door, I have like a I would make something like that as well. I made a template for a sci-fi door here, which we'll find in the CoveredBones BP. This is a little bit more advanced, and it's a little bit bigger, although I think you can scale it if you want to. I think you can do like something like this. Yeah, if you really want to. I just made it bigger so that you could traverse it, and it also has a activation, either like front or only back, or double, and you can also change the size of this box as well. And if I play it in game, as you can see right now, we have sound here as well. So that's cool. So normally I can't pass through this, but if you go down and touch the box, obviously you can. So and then you can do so that you wouldn't be able to trigger it from either side as well. Right. Next up we have AI, and what I'm thinking about here is the civilians and the suspect, and for that you'll need to use the C++ class. So you can just click this little green folder called C++ classes and go to ready or not and public, and you'll need to find a second thing here, which is called AI spawn. Drag it out into your world, you'll see this little dinosaur character. Just lift him a little bit off of the ground, or else the AI will spawn into the ground and despawn or die. Maybe fall through the world or something. At the side here, you'll see it has some setup. You'll need to make it enabled or not. So enabled means, of course, that it's going to be enabled and spawn the AI. Data table means that you could choose which data table you like, club. And then you could like choose a DJ or whatever. And since this is civilian, you can see by a CV. We can change the sprite here to be civ. Just type in civ here and you'll get this green marker here so you can distinguish them. Another feature in this template is sound. And for here we have a radio out audio volume that is included. This is basically something to add reverberation to your map. And you should not scale this, by the way. You should only use the size commands here to adjust the size. Let me do something like this. And then inside of here you can change what kind of reverb is going to be in here. For example, I want it to be out in the forest, out in streets. It has some reverberation effects, like inside in bathroom. So out means outside, in means inside. So you can use like bathroom, for example, and inside of here gonna sound like it's in a bathroom. So that's something like that. And another feature that we have related to sound is when you go into mods and audio. Let me have this Atmos mod here, which is also made by one of our community members. And this lets you make sound in your map, like I had here. I had some sound when I spawned. And you might notice these green things around the door here. And those are basically sound transition volumes, which is going to be this BPF mod transition volume. So if you drag it out, you can see that it has this little bubble around, and it has this frame as well, which you could place around your doors to make them transition from one side to another. So right now you can see that it has some text on each side of this, and that correlates to which sound you've chosen. So right now it says none, but you could change to like whatever you want. Let's go like farm, for example. You're gonna have like boiler room tone, for example, and that out event, as you can see, that is for the outside. So right now we're gonna on this side is where the sound is gonna be, where the text is at. So if you can read the text, that means that that sound is gonna be in the area you're standing. And then for the other side here, this is where the outside is gonna be. So let's do like dealer, and we could have car pass by, something like that. And this is also gonna tie up to like the standard sound cue that's gonna play when you spawn into your map. And the standard sound cue is this default ambience thing that you can drag into here. And you could have the start ambience. Let's do the dealer car pass by again, which is gonna be the default thing for those things. So I'm just gonna have it in the same volume just for giggles. And inside of here, this Atmos sound is basically this default ambience. So you can actually use this little eyedropper thing and just select it, and as you can see now it's this Atmos sound. But this here, the BPF mod ambience, is the Atmos sound I want. So since I already have one in here, it's gonna default to this thing because this is the first one that I had in here. So also if I right click it and go to browse assets, you can see it's this thing. It's called Atmos sound because I think that was an earlier earlier name for it, something like that. Doesn't really matter. It's still going to be able to transition from something to something else. So I'm just gonna let this one be in here. Let's try to start up and go over to it, which is gonna be a little bit hard. But yeah, as you can see here we are inside of, yeah, okay, there we go. So I was able to go around here. I don't know exactly where this little transition volume is because it doesn't show up when you're in the game. But yeah, here is this other door, by the way. It will actually show up in the editor when you replace the mesh. When you transition from one side to another, you should remember to actually use the same. If I were to transition, like this is a room, this is a room, and this is a room, I would have these two here to be the same. So I could just do like this and turn this one 180 degrees, and then I'll choose something else for this side, right? So because if you were to pass through this side now, it will be having a different sound cue than if you pass from this side to this side, which is very unrealistic. There's also one more sound object that you can use, which is in bare bones and BP and audio. So here you have audio player, and this is gonna only play the audio when you step into it, and it's gonna stop it when you step out of it. So let's the max range. Let's have Club Sauna as the default for this thing, and I'm gonna have volume 1 should be good. If you type in oxmol for this parameter and set it to 1, that means that it's gonna stop occlusion. So just I'm gonna do like this, right? And go close here. You should be able to hear sauna effect, yeah. And there's the door, so yeah. Anyways, that's basically how it works. As you can see, we can actually preview the sound because we have all of the fmod contents in this little yellow fmod folder. So if you want to find sounds, you go to fmod and you go to the screen folder, events, and then you could use the levels to get the sound for each of the levels. Everything else is just going to be miscellaneous, like dropping a weapon or stepping sounds and things like that. Here's actually things from the different maps, like doors. You have the, let's say, electronic door, you have access granted. I mean, you could actually double click this. Hello? Double click and press play. And that will play the sound. So if you want to have a custom sound for something, you could have that if you want to. So another highly requested feature was the alternation of game modes. So you'll actually find it in blueprint spawners again, and I'm gonna go over to the right hand side where you find custom game mode override. And if you drag this out into your world, you can see there's a little door in here now. This is the actor to override the game mode. If you don't want to override the game mode, you just simply delete this actor. So if you want to override the game mode, you drag this door into the scene. You go to the game mode, and as you can see, when you hover over it, it'll say default game mode for barricaded suspects, and also a little bit of what it does in the game, like disarm, arrest hostiles, secure civilians, pick up evidence, strict rules of engagement. And then you could scroll down and you can find raid, active shooter, bomb threat, and hostage rescue. And if you change these values, like as you can see, the raid now actually has a battering ram. The active shooter has a gun, which is fitting. Bomb threat has C2, and hostage rescue has a chair for, you know, when they bind up the hostages. So you could use this to distinguish that, oh yeah, doors here as barricaded suspects, right? So you'll need to change to whatever you have here. And then you'll need a level name. it's gonna be the name of your level. So if I change this from bare bones to, let's say, generic map name 01, I will need to type in generic map name 01 in the level name as well. And that's just because the game needs to know what level it's gonna transition to, because it will actually, when you spawn the level, it's gonna transition to this level. It's gonna transition to the level and then pick the mode to be whatever you put in here. So if you want to have bomb threat, just so you know this, if you want to have bomb threat, it's not going to spawn the bombs automatically. This is why I've added this bomb spawner at the opposite end here. You just simply drag this out, and as you can see, it shows up the little bump here. And you can place up to 2, I think it is. You'll need to do some science on this. Well, if you place 2 of these bombs here, now this is actually going to show up in game as well. So if I just delete the other things I have here, which is the active shooter, and delete the other bomb that I placed here before. But if you change this one to, let's say, raid, it's not going to spawn the bombs. So these bombs are only going to be there if you have the bomb mode on the bomb threat. So let's say you want to make your own map and not use this template map because it has the wrong lighting or whatever. You'll need to go here and go to new level, or click Ctrl N, and you could take default empty or time of day. I would like to have empty level, and that's just going to be completely black. What you could do now is that I have added this good sky here, which is a blueprint to be able to manipulate how the sky looks. So just drag it into your scene here. Now you can see that it already has atmosphere and some partial lighting, and I think that this should be like a default configuration. If you hold Ctrl L, you should be able to move the sun and all this around here, but for some reason right now it doesn't work. Maybe they have changed it or not, but yeah, it's can I do something like this? No. So you will be able to use the good sky here, but normally it will use, if you go in this, onto the VP good sky, you could enable time of day, and that you will be able to adjust the sun where it is in the world as well, like this. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that you could, yeah, do a little bit like this to rotate the clouds. You could also adjust the brightness, sun size, if you want to have like a ginormous sun on some distant planet. And you also have the enable auto day night cycle in game. Basically what it's going to do is it's going to move this, the sun around. So how long is the day? And this is going to actually be in minutes. So how long is the day in real time? It's going to be 1 minute. That means that the whole day is going to pass in 1 minute. Let's do something like this, and as you can see, the sun will move. And also the sky and color will also change with it, so you don't need to do anything about that. It is smart because if I place out some actors, like basic geometry stuff, so usually what I do is that we will need to plug in a directional light actor to this, and you'll find this in place actor lights. Like this, as you can see now, everything is super bright. But let's say if it's nighttime, you don't want this to be lit up right. You can highlight this 5 lux, and you make this immovable. What you're gonna do now is that you're gonna go back to your good sky. You can click up in the skies here to access it, and you go down to the directional light actor, and you find the directional light. So let me just place another actor in here. Scale it up a little bit like this. You can actually see the as the time progresses, like this. Yeah, you can see the shadow of this thing change. And it's now lit on this side, so you can actually have super dynamic lighting as you play the game. And right now you can see everything is going to be dark once it turns nighttime. And of course the sun is going to go down and you're going to have shadows like this. Now everything is like complete dark. So if you don't want to have everything complete dark, obviously you'll need to place down a smaller light. This one could be a static light, or something like that, like the what you call them, the stationary light. Usually you'll have, if you have too much of these and overlap these too much, it will cause the lighting to be glitchy or not work at all sometimes. And now you can see how the lighting changes, but at the end of the day, quite literally, is going to be lighting up the scene from those points. So you can actually make a totally dynamic lighted up world like that. So you can actually see now there's still a little bit of light there, even though the sun is going down. If you can, you should use the sun to light up most of the scene, because it's only one actor and it's providing a lot of light, which can bounce, and that is good for lighting up scenes. It's gonna look very natural and they're gonna look very good. Now there are some more miscellaneous items that you can add into your world. One of them is the evidence, like the dossiers or the meth or whatever you want to have. And for this I made this BP spawn evidence. And if I drag it into the world, as you can see right now, it'll say dossier, this guy. We're trying to write this guy, and it's gonna mainly spawn in the direction of this purple arrow here. And if I want to change this, of course, I can change the evidence to spawn here, and I added some tooltips to this. As you can see, dossier found import token, and there's car dealer, and you could change it to the Valley hard drive, and the Valley hard drive cert 2. This is not actually how it looks like in game, by the way, just to show you what it is. The Valley laptop, Ryzen capsule, dossier, obviously, the meth bags. That's gonna be the red one, and that's gonna be the white one. And then we also have some other actor made by Vegriv, which will spawn a selected actor, and this is actually one of them. And you could try this out, and you can select the BP selected class, like for example balloon. I know that the balloon works. Oops, I can type here. There we go, balloon cluster. This one works, but it actually spawns the upward direction in the direction of this arrow here, so you'll actually need to tip it over on the side to spawn the balloon in the correct fashion like this. If you've flown around on this map a little bit, you might have noticed some of these guys lying around here. These are exactly what you think it is. They are the incapacitated humans that was previously not working, but is now working. Thanks again to Reap for providing the blueprint for this. And if you wonder where this blueprint is, so you can place it down yourself in a new map, you go to mods, go to Reap, blueprints, and AI, and now you could try this out and it'll play spawn sieve here. And one thing to note here is that you'll need to filter the sieve, or else it's gonna spawn just a random guy. So if I type in like construction, it's gonna probably spawn a construction worker, right? And this is how many attempts it's gonna try to find this before it spawns something random. There was another entry there, and that is this thing. This is the BP ammo box. It's let you refill your ammunition during the game, and it will show up as an ammunition box. And you could, it also says press this and this key to refill your ammunition. Obviously it doesn't work in the editor because we don't have the full game in here, and it's also gonna have a lid on it when it's in the game. It's not gonna look like this for some reason. I think it's overriding the custom mesh, but this is so you can actually see how it looks like. It's gonna be almost the same size as this, and also gonna point the same way. So if I want to have my guys pick up some ammunition, if there's like a super huge map or whatever, or if you make like zombie maps, this is the way to do it. Another thing that you might have noticed around here is that I have provided a radio blueprint for you to use. So if you want to have a radio playing music that people can toggle in your map, this is an actual interactive radio that you could press to play the music on. So I can actually go into the map here now and press play for this thing, and as you can see, press left mouse button to use radio. That's what I have used inside of here. So that will blend between the different radio sounds if you have that. So you could actually make this queue a little bit more. So if you open up the blueprint of this thing, you could press edit blueprint, or you can press Control E. And I was going to open up the blueprint. You can see that it has this when you use the radio. I'm just going to bind the event to use dispatch, but then here is what it's actually going to do. So now, right now, it's going to flip between playing and not playing. And so what you can do is that you can actually play whenever it's being used. You could cycle the next parameter by, for example, increasing a variable, or do select random. You could do like this. You could set the parameter here. You're gonna do drag out fmod and I'm gonna set event. And from this event here, you can actually randomize this if you want to. You can do like this and press select like this, and you could have a let's do an integer here, and let's add like, let's say 4 options here, and then we drag out this and type in random integer in range and go 0 to 3 because that's how many of these it could be here. And then for this thing, let's say you have like sauna, for example, and here you have dealer, garbage, or crickets, for example. I don't know. Let's do like radio, meth radio, for example, and you also have like the arcade music like this, arcade music 8-bit, and that's basically what it's gonna do. So it's gonna start between doing that and that. What I also like to do is that I like to kind of compress this a little bit. So what you can do is we could do like this right now. Still plug it into the flip-flop. It's gonna play, obviously, the sound here. So here you could switch the event every time it plays, and stop it whenever it does. So let's do like this right now. Simple fix. Let's go back and press play again. Yeah, so right now it's randomizing these, although it's a little bit biased, looks like. So yeah, that's an easy way to make a blendable radio. And if you want this, I could post this in Blueprint UI or something like that, and you could just import this. This is super simple. You could make this random in like forever and just cycle between. If you make your own custom sounds, which will be a tutorial in the future, you will be able to plug your custom sounds into this board as well and make them be able to play through a radio or through something else that has this kind of interactability here. And so for some miscellaneous items, you have the mirror, which actually works. I can actually test it right now. If I go in here now, you can see myself. I'm a sphere here. Hello. And this is a little bit stuttery in game. It will give you a little bit of frame rate drop if you use a lot of mirrors in a game, or if you have this range to be set really high. So this is also breakable mirror. So if you collide with something, it's also gonna break. Next up, we have something. Let's say like have it right here. This little thing here. This is my custom blueprint, which is called Gravitator. And what it does is that it changes the gravity for anybody who touches this or goes inside of this volume. It changes the gravity for those people, so you don't fall as fast. Like let's say you want to have like a moon base, for example, then the gravity will be set like that for these players who touch this. So right here I have a custom blueprint that whenever you go into this, you will be launched, you'll be kicked basically by an imaginary boot, and it will shoot you towards this marker here. And once you touch this volume though, you're gonna have a lot less gravity, so you're gonna fall super slowly down onto this mat over here. we have already covered the custom door blueprint here, and a lot of these things that I have here, miscellaneous items, are located in mods and bare bones and BP. Most of these are in here. We have some glass actors, it looks like. We have the motion sensor, which is basically you step into it, it'll detect you're stepping into it, and it will play a alarm sound, and it'll also flash a light. Here, this one here is the character launcher, and then you need a launcher target, which is this thing, to make it kick you there. Audio, we're going through this audio player called bomb. This is my custom made bomb. You don't really need it if you want to have it for funsies. You can do that, but there's no need to use this right now. Here in fun stuff, here we have like the radio, we have the mirror, we have the gravitator, and now also there's like floating vehicle blueprint in case you want to have like some boats or whatever. This is not really that good, but it kind of works, as you can see here. You also have some interactive lights here, and if you go on the backside here, you'll find one of these lights. There's like an interactable fuse box kit, which I have here. You can just drag it out into your level, and you could move the lights here. You can move it to wherever you want, like this. And I don't care about the text. It's just for some testing I had. And you could also make more of these if you want to. And then I had another interactive light system, which was not that good, but yeah. It also contains its own fuse box as well that is individual of each of the lights. So in each, if you shoot each light, it's not gonna trigger the fuse box, but I think you could be able to turn it on and off. I'm not sure. Let's try that. Let's see, I could use a button to operate lever, and you could actually turn them on and off like this. Yeah, that also happens when you bump into it. It's gonna turn off, right? And if you just operate the lever again, it's not gonna turn these on. They're gonna stay off and whatever for eternal. So yeah. And if you bump into them, of course they're gonna turn off as well. So, and I think you could also shoot this one, and that will also cause this main fuse to cut off. So as you can see, it actually gives you some tooltips at the top left. So restore main fuse power, cut main fuse power. So it'll actually give you some tooltips right there. And this will actually show up in game as well if you try to use that. And if you want to, you could test that in game as well. If you want to drag this out, operate the lever and change the light of all of these. If you shoot these, they will of course turn inactive. And of course you could move each of these by going into this thing here and go to the light. There's just a child actor component, and if you add a new child actor, you could just select this to be the BP interactive lights here, and you can make more of these. So you don't need to only have 4, you could have like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100 if you want to, and these are movable, so they're not going to cause like this overlap issue with all of the lights and stuff. And this could be cool to have some cool lights in your map that you could turn off if you wanted to use like NVGs or whatever, right? So they're a little bit weird at the moment because they cast a little bit weird shadows, but okay. So yeah, there is still some assets here in bare bones. There are some materials that you could use if you really want to not use a lot of things in the start. If you wanted to have your map on the in-game menu, you could go to the I think it is data tables and levels, and you could just duplicate this data asset here,
and type in your map name, DA_my_map, or whatever your name is. Then you select your map here from the level. Write in your author name if you have a Nexus mod ID, and your name of the map, and then the basically the nickname. Like the nickname and designation, I think is mixed up because the when it says Twisted Nerve, this is basically this this section, and also time of day, a little bit of description if you want that, and of course you'll need to have a level image, and this needs to be a multiplier of 2, so either like, yeah, let's go like 1024 by 1024, or like 2k by 2k, something like that. It needs to be like a perfect square basically. So as you can see, I've done this. I have just placed my poster like this, so it looks like it's a little bit better. Here you also see the recommended play count and also the default game mode that's gonna start a bit. So right now I probably want to change to bomb threat. And here I also have available game modes in case you have that. If you want to have the custom image, you'll need to place this in ref. So as you can see here, I have this ready mapping template picture right there. The level itself, if you want it to appear in the mod menu, you'll need to put your level into levels from mods here. So kind of mods levels, and that's basically gonna be detected by the in-game menu. And also, if you download the content pack with all of the models and all of this, it goes into third party. So there are already some third party assets here for some of the different blueprints that I have around here. That's just how they are. And as always, if you need me, I'm to find here in Run Custom Maps, in Help and Support, and then you just add me at the real source. There you go. Just add me and ask any question. So if you want to join us, here's the link. I'll also post this in the description below.